Hazel always knew there was something special about her cat Mooney, but she's still shocked when Mooney opens his mouth to tell her he's just had a vision. An ancient evil has awoken after centuries of sleep, and only one man can stop it, the legendary warrior Beowulf. Unfortunately, it's been over 1,000 years since he slayed a dragon, and he's been reincarnated as this guy. His name is Victor, and he's more unemployed millennial slacker than mighty warrior.
So this is going to be a nice, quick video. Angie isn't going to be involved in this. Maybe if a lot of people watch this video, then I can do a follow-up video with her opinion on these comic books. But I thought that I would do a quick little video of all the different indie comic books that I've recently purchased. Full disclosure, a lot of these creators are people who are friends of mine or that I know from conventions and stuff. So I'm really not going to tear into any of these comic books. I'm going to try to keep all of these reviews positive. Obviously, I liked some of these better than others, but I'm going to try to remain positive on all of them. So these first comic books are from a Kickstarter that I supported that were from a bunch of independent comic book creators who kind of over-ordered a lot of comic books. And without going into too much detail, they thought they had a deal that they didn't have, so they ordered way too many copies of their comic books, and so they were selling them at quite a discount. I think I got 10 comic books for $25, so it was a pretty good deal. First up, we have Indy Revolt Sequential Art Showcase. As the name implies, this is an anthology comic book. It's all black and white. I'm not going to go story by story. I liked some of the stories better than other. There was one that had really good art in it. But anyways, yeah, I enjoyed this comic book. Then we have Hybrids, the Sons of Gods by Luke Stone. This one is pretty cool. It's the story of a bunch of Greek gods, or I think they might be maybe the ancestors of Greek gods, but they are being picked off one by one by the government. Neat little combination of fantasy elements and sci-fi elements. Then we have HeroBot Zero. This is about a little kid who invents a robot that goes after kaiju in a city that's being plagued by kaiju. This comic book, I think, is a little bit more on the campy side, a little bit more fun. The art style is pretty cartoony, but I liked this one as well. God's Hand, I'm going to be honest with you, I haven't had a chance to read this one yet. Wellkeeper, this is more of a fantasy comic book. This is black and white. The thing that's kind of cool about it is that the people are drawn very cartoony, but the backgrounds are very realistic, kind of like Cerebus. But I like that aesthetic, so yeah, this was a good comic book. Shield of the Interceptor, this one has really solid artwork by Russ Leach. And this is more, I would say, a superhero. Just a pretty straightforward superhero comic book. Tall Tales, I have not had the chance to read yet. Only Death Can Save Us is my favorite of the comic books I'm going to be reviewing today, at least of the ones that I've read so far. It has a really cool concept. The idea is, death. Basically, a scientist opens a portal to hell, and Death needs to go down and stop it. As soon as the scientist is killed, she admits to Death that, she opened a portal to hell, and Death is like, oh no, I gotta go down and stop it. The art is solid. This is by the same guy who did S.H.I.E.L.D. comic book, S.H.I.E.L.D. of the Interceptor, and I don't know, it's just a really fun, really neat concept with good art. The Oswald Chronicles, this one was a lot more kid-friendly than the other ones. This one is almost like Disney-like, or maybe, it was kind of like The Secret of Nim, but with more fantasy elements, and this one is pretty fun. So the next series of comic books were comic books that I picked up at the Gem City Convention in Dayton, Ohio. First of all, we have Do You Remember Rock and Roll Record Stores? This is a comic book about a run-in a guy had with the Ramones. This one I actually didn't buy. My friend Sasaya, who came to meet with me to the convention, bought this one, but she left it in my car, so I read it anyways. It was pretty cool. The big downside for me is that I really like the Ramones, and that's the whole reason why I wanted to read this comic book, but the Ramones are actually kind of in the background, which I realized that the writer did that on purpose, but I did enjoy the comic book. The art is great. The inking is excellent, especially. And I don't know, it was neat to see a little glimpse into the Ramones, but I think I would have liked a little bit more Ramones. So unfortunately, I haven't read a lot of the comic books that I got from Gem City. This one is one of the ones that I have not read yet, but this is by my friend Rodney Fike, who's a really nice guy, and I'm sure I will enjoy it when I do read it. So this is a comic book that was at the booth of a guy named Mark Fisher and Shane Moore, and Shane Moore also drew this comic book. The writer was not at Gem City, but I ended up going out to dinner with Shane Moore and Mark Fisher after the convention on Saturday, and they seemed like really nice guys. Unfortunately, I haven't had time to read this comic book either, but the guys involved in making it were very, very nice. This is another comic book by Shane Moore, who I just talked about. So this is The Devil's Contract. This was a comic book by Dan Barlow. He is a native of Dayton, and also a really nice guy. Look him up on Facebook, Instagram, all that type of stuff. Revel Rhodes. This is a comic book by Carrie Arnold, who is somebody else that I met at Gem City. She's really nice as well. And we have discussed, us maybe working together sometime in the future. Like maybe she could do a variant cover or a pinup for Beowulf, or maybe do like a short story in Memoirs of the Morbid. So be on the lookout for that. And that is the end of this video. That is all the more comic books that I have from Gem City. So thank you very much, guys, for watching this video, and keep a lookout for more videos in the future. Thank you.